Okay, this last one we saw was Captain Marvel.
That's right.
Which is a superhero movie.
Or, in
case you didn't know, it was the origin story for this character, which I knew nothing about this character. I thought it was a guy, really. I think the character was originally a guy at one time, way in the past.
But it has been a woman at various points.
I'm pretty sure originally Captain Marvel was was a DC character that we know as Shazam. I think that was originally Captain Marvel, but it had something to do with rights, and they bought rights.
I think you're right about that.
And
I'm sure like some of them.
Yeah, I think Captain Marvel was now known as Shazam or something. But saw the movie. What'd you think of it, Jenny?
I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm not a huge superhero movie fan, and I haven't I've seen some of the movies in the MCU. Probably saw the first Avengers, like the first Iron Man, stuff like that. But I tend not to see them until like years later. It's so I'm not up on all the stuff. I know enough about it that I knew who this was, and I knew who some of the peripheral characters were and stuff like that. So like I said, this is kind of like Captain Marvel's origin story about Carol Danvers, also kind of the origin story of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury, set in 1995, so had kind of a nice soundtrack. Got some breeders going there. Everybody was
there's a lot
their
of
grunge stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nick Fury in this movie. It's almost a Nick Fury movie. He's almost co-starring in it, and it's kind of like Nick Fury's origin story to a certain extent.
I didn't realize this, but they age regressed him.
Yeah, I could tell.
It didn't even occur to me.
It looked good though.
Because I'm like, yeah, he's old now, duh.
It looked good.
But I didn't notice, so I guess they did a good job.
What'd you think of it? Did you like it?
I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like I said, it's I'm not as super into like the Marvel universe, so I don't know like a lot of the. So I'm sure somebody that was like super into it would probably enjoy it a lot more than me. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was, kind of fun. I enjoyed it. The story was pretty compelling. I actually liked, and I know you're probably going to say you didn't like it because it kind of jumped around a lot, but I kind of liked that aspect of it. It almost, at the beginning, it almost had like a Jacob's Ladder type of quality, where it's because she wasn't really sure what her identity was, like whether she was from Earth, whether she was an alien, like, what was this past that she kept having these nightmares and stuff, and you weren't really sure for a long time, like, unless you read the comics, I guess, whether, which one was the real thing, like what her real identity was. So I was kind of like compelled by that whole mystery. But yeah, it's like, I thought it was a perfectly enjoyable film.
Yeah, I don't like superhero movies. I don't like them.
I know, I'm ambivalent about them.
Yeah, some of the older ones, like the old Spider-Mans and shit like that, I liked them. But progressively, the Marvel ones got more and more samey, and I just don't really give a shit. But I did see Venom. I liked that one.
Ones about bad guys are always going to, or kind of bad guys, are always going to be more interesting than good guys.
And I liked, what was the name of that fucking piece of shit? Aquaman. That shit was that was awesome.
That fucking piece of shit. You loved that movie.
Yeah, it was kind of like Flash Gordon, but this one it was a mess. It was just kind of all over the place. I really had a hard time getting a feel for who this was as a character.
I do feel like you kind of have to have seen some of the other movies, and kind of, because she's
just some blonde chick. Really, I don't know who this woman is. Really, there's no real personality side to her. She's just some blonde chick.
I can see what you're saying.
And it was just very generic.
Although Samuel L. Jackson was rad in it.
Him
and the cat were my favorite parts.
Yeah, I don't think I liked that. Battle Angel was a lot better. I thought it was just a lot better. Just gotta say.
But like I said, I thought it was perfectly fine. And if you're into that kind of stuff, then you will probably enjoy it.
I think a lot of it. I think a lot of the problem with it was the hype. I think it was kind of built up. You know what I mean? Because people were talking about how great, how important this movie was. It's not fucking important, man.
I think it's kind of like
it's not important.
They're leading up to Avengers Endgame, so they had to like fill in some gaps and stuff like that, I'm guessing. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not the intended audience.
It was just generic to me. To me, it's just another generic movie.
Yeah.
It has some good gunfights in it, but then they started talking. When they start talking, it throws me out of it because I don't really care what they're saying. They're trying to be deep, and I'm like, man, this shit isn't deep at all. But mediocre. I'm gonna say it's bad. It's just mediocre.
Yeah, I see.
I think out of the two, I'd take Battle Angel fucking twice as good. That was a story there. You know, that had a story to it. The other one was kind of generic.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I said. Okay, just got done seeing one called Wonder Park, which was an animated film for kids, and it was done by Nickelodeon Studios. About this little girl who goes to a magical land. Sheena could probably explain it better than me. It's kind of like Wizard of Oz in a certain way.
Well, her and her mom had like invented this park, like in their imaginations.
Yeah.
And her mom gets sick and has to go up to a hospital.
Yeah, I thought she died.
No, she didn't die. Spoiler alert. And so the movie's a little bit dark. It's not that dark.
Yeah.
But so she gets sad and doesn't want to work on the park anymore. And then she goes off on a trip and ends up like magically transporting to the park. And all of her little stuffed animal friends have come to life and are like, we don't know what's going on with the park. Like this darkness came and it's sucking everything up. And all these little chimpanzee zombies, like little animated little monkeys are like tearing the park apart.
I can't believe we're talking about this movie.
No, I'm telling you. That's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
What? Don't be like that.
No, I'm just...
I'm telling people what the movie is.
That's what the movie's about. The good thing about these movies is that an adult can sit through them and they won't drive you fucking crazy. Okay, they're not as bad as the movies for kids when we were kids. Because that would drive your parents crazy a lot of times. But so an adult can go see these and kind of, maintain sanity. The moral of the story on this one was just, don't get depressed because then you can't create things. That was pretty much essentially it, because that was like the whole thing. I mean, the darkness was like a metaphor, obviously, for her sadness over what was happening with her mom, and she thought that she couldn't use her imagination more because she felt so bad, and she realized that it had like implications like farther outside herself. So it was actually pretty cute. Like I liked the way they animated it. It's almost kind of like, how some of the like Pixar ones and they're like really slick and like have a lot of sheen and stuff, which this had, but it also had like a lot of shots that were like shaky cam and stuff like that. It had like this really weird like look to it, so it looked almost realistic but not. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And but it's a cute story. It's not as I think it's not as like ironic or sarcastic as maybe some of Pixar ones or maybe like Illumination Studios or something would do. It definitely seems like it for a slightly younger audience. Although, like I said, it did have some kind of darker aspects to it, which I wasn't really expecting. But I quite enjoyed it. I have to say, my very favorite scene in this, and I busted out laughing, was when she goes, after her mom goes up to the hospital, and the little girl, whose name is June, she goes to, she's going to go off to math camp, but then on the way there, she thinks her dad is going to be, like, burn the house down while he's by himself, because he's a man, and he doesn't know how to do anything, I guess. And so she wants to go back, so she's, like, imagining him, like, laying in front of the TV, just, like, inhaling pizzas. There's pizza boxes, and, like, there's crows inside the refrigerator, and he blows the house up and shit. So that scene actually made me bust up laughing. It was a well-made movie. You could take a kid to go see it. It won't drive you crazy. But other than that, who gives a shit what a 50-year-old man says about this fucking movie? Well, I'm not the intended audience. So
I thought it was pretty cute, though. It was pretty cute. And we should note that we actually went, we don't care because we don't pay. We have a list. But we went to go see it in 3D. And I was like, they're not telling us to put the 3D glasses on. I put the 3D glasses, and I was like,
it was never 3D.
It was not 3D. And so about 10 minutes in, like, somebody came in and was like, sorry, get a pass.
Right,
we didn't mean for it not to be 3D.
But, you can take a kid to go see it. And
I think kids will probably
kids were laughing.
I think it's really cute. And, like, the little chimpanzees were cute. All the little characters were cute. So,
All right. All right, we just got done seeing one called Captured State.
Captive State.
Captive State, yeah. It was about the Earth got invaded by aliens, and then they hooked up with the rich people, and they were underneath the Earth, strip mining the Earth down to nothing. And in a few years, it was going to be destroyed, at the rate that they were going. and that was the situation. And then there's like a resistance, a human resistance to try to fight these things off, because when they first invaded, the military was just pretty much defeated instantly. So this is just about an insurgents.
Yeah, this is like 9 years after they
9 years after
landed on the Earth, and was pretty much just like, do what we say or we're gonna blow you all up.
Yeah, same premise.
Was like, okay.
Same premise actually as They Live. When you think
I was thinking, yeah, this is very much a similar vein to They Live or District 9. It gave me like a little bit of a tone of that also.
Right. You get to see some of the aliens. You get to see the ships. It looks like a big honeycomb things, and honeycomb ships made out of rock, and you see aliens that look like sea urchins shaped like human beings, and weird looking predator looking things in armor. But there actually wasn't very much of it. I really didn't think there was enough aliens. There should have been more of them. It's hard for me to tell what kind of movie this was. It wasn't an action movie. It was more of a cloak and dagger type movie, almost kind of like a weird heist movie kind of. Or a spy movie. Because,
I mean, the aliens were there and they were like in the background, but you didn't really see much of them. It was mostly about the characters and the network of the insurgency and how they went about the particular plan that they were going to do, like to try and fight back against the aliens.
And the human cops trying to stop the insurgency. That was
so that's pretty much, I mean, so don't come into this thinking that it's going to be like this big, like sci-fi, like Independence Day type. It's nothing like that. It's pretty much just like I said, District 9, They Live type of that kind of tone. Yeah. But maybe not even as like, I'm not going to say They Live was like goofy, but it
was kind of goofy though.
It was kind of goofy, but it's like just the aliens are just very, very much in the background. You just every now and then you see their ships, you see them with their spikes and stuff like that, but they're not really in that many scenes. It's just always kind of this oppressive force with like people talking about them. Like I said, it's mostly based around the characters that are trying to fight back against them.
They Live was goofy, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
This one was realistic and kind of slow, I thought. I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was kind of boring. It wasn't my kind of movie.
Yeah, I liked it, but I can see what you're saying. It was a little kind of slow moving. It was like like I said, I'm not going to say it was a sci-fi action movie. It was more like a dystopian thriller, I want to say. That is probably more kind of a way of putting it.
If they had dumbed it down, speeded it up, and put some more action in it, I'd have liked it better.
Well, he says that about every movie.
I'm not here to get involved. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just here to have a good time.
Although I have to say, I did like the look of the aliens. It reminded me of a little bit. There's a horror movie. It's either on Netflix or Shudder called Splinters, and the monsters that kind of reminded me of that, where they were kind of like liquidy, but then they were like all spiked out, like a sea urchin, like you said.
Yeah, they're kind of like a sea urchin shaped like a human being.
Yeah, you only saw them a few times, but...
and evidently that was a suit.
Yeah, it looked like it was because
a piece of it got pulled off. You could see the face. It was just kind of...
and then it looked like kind of an anus.
Yeah, well, actually, it looked like the center of a sea.
Of a sea urchin, yeah. So they, I guess it did. So yeah, they did make them kind of look like that. But like I said, I think you'll like it if you're going into it not thinking it's going to be like I said. If you go into it thinking it's more, like I said, like a slow-moving, like spy thriller kind of thing.
If you're on A-list,
spy drama.
If you're on A-list, then you got to have something to watch anyway. So
you could.
It's better than just not seeing. Yeah, it's better than not seeing.
I'm just saying, it's
better than not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Or seeing something worse than this.
Okay.
Yeah, but why not?